Regaining Fenris, Rebecca's Tale. Thank you, everyone. For those that might have missed my introduction earlier, my name is Rebecca Braun, foster and galliard of the Fenrir. 10 years ago I was given the deed name Swallows the Heart of the Wyrm, as a reminder to be ever vigilant against both the Wyrm and weakness within myself. A little over a year ago I failed that vigilance, and the punishment for such was steep. Early one evening, with time to kill, I went to the store to rent Kill Bill. I saw a young couple ahead in the aisle. They're speaking of werewolves. I listened a while. The more that I listened, the more that I thought he surely was kin, like it or not. But the way he was speaking, the things that he said, I hung my head, I hung my head. I set off hoping to get him to stop, so I showed off my glyphs. Was that or a wallop? I set into motion events I regret. I risked the veil and endangered the sept. His expression remained neutral, but the fear you could smell. You'd think that I'd shown him his own personal hell. He turned with his girlfriend and casually fled. I hung my head, I hung my head. All through the summer I'd threaten he'd hide. Why didn't I speak? Not say it was pride. I had my suspicions by the threat that he'd made of what he might be, but little mind I'd paid. I thought that I had everything well in hand, till the night that I found him too weak to stand. What made me help rather than leave him for dead? I hung my head, I hung my head. When my actions have consequences, I have a price to pay for my careless deeds and my can-risking way. I've since killed the name-breaker, no easy task. Just before our battle, this question he did ask. When tales were sung, which would I be, hero or villain? Well, it's neither, you see. For my deeds I've been named outcast, to Fenris I'm dead. I hung my head, I hung my head, I hung my head. Now I've heard some question the justness of my punishment, even after learning that it was by Fenris's judgment that I was cast out. I don't question it. I never have. I was weak. My actions at the time put the sept and cairn of 3 Rivers at risk. I broke the veil and spoke to the nation to one that was considered an enemy. In Pittsburgh there are no alliances or non-aggression pacts like what we have heard exist here. The name-breakers there are considered as much an enemy and threat as are the servants of the Wyrm. This was no nation-raised kin-mage who was taught to revere Gaia. This was one whose motivation could well have been the gaining of power at any expense. No, my punishment was just. So it was that I was stripped of renown, but not rank, and cast out of the tribe. Barely were the ritual words spoken before one of the bone gnars of the sept stood and said, "We'll take her!" Yet I am too much Fenris's daughter to accept any other tribe but his. So I left that night to find a means to prove myself to him once more. I took myself to the most tainted of areas in Pittsburgh, and called the Wyrm to me. And there was my second mistake. And I'm not just referring to the fact that I lost against the Spiral Pack and was marked by the Wyrm. But my reasons behind seeking battle were solely for my own purpose, not for Gaia's. Always keep in mind when you battle what you are fighting for. Can't you see me in this tainted place, with its mark upon my face? Did she see me falling in disgrace, while their cliff they did trace? And I try, and I try, and I try, but it never comes out right. Still I try, and I try, and I try, but I stand and I will fight. Fight for Mother Earth under lunar sky. Mother Earth under lunar sky. Mother Earth, lunar sky. I remained there, in that worm-tainted place, for nearly 2 months, resting only long enough between battles to heal enough to fight again. I was driven in my purpose to fight for Gaia. I felt like I had nothing else to live for. I held back nothing. When I wasn't fighting, I was training, or trying to keep alive that tenuous connection I felt with Gaia by meditating. I am no Thurge, that much is quite obvious. But this I have learned through experience. Meditating, when in the midst of such taint, is not productive. It does nothing to bring you closer to Gaia, and may have even deepened the taint that I bore from bearing the Worm's Glyph. So, how did I end up in Los Angeles after committing myself to all-out war against the Worm of Pittsburgh, you might ask? Simple answer. I was tricked by the Worm.